You're listening to the And I Quote podcast, brought to you by Coterie Insurance. And I Quote is hosted by Ann Boger, VP of Scaling,
and Brian Thomas, Director of Claims Experience. We're bringing you conversations with insurance agents, brokers, leaders, and small business owners. Each episode will dive into the importance of building relationships within the insurance industry.
Relationships are the foundation of building a trustworthy connection. Together, we can learn from other stories and experiences.
So let's jump right into the episode.
And I quote.
All right, here we are back. AIQ Season 2. Here we are. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I am your host, Brian Thomas, Director of Claims Experience, and today I have the pleasure of introducing to you the AIQ audience, Cody Eddings, CEO and co-founder of Snap Refund. Cody and I, we connected last year. He was starting out a digital payment platform, and it was designed specifically for fintech and insurtech platforms. But today I'm excited to catch up with him and see how things are going. Welcome to the show, Cody.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm here with the legendary Brian Thomas, so I always got to make time.
You're talking about me like somebody was behind me for a second there. I was like, I got to be careful. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, Cody, let's start from the scratch, right? So, introduce yourself and your company.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you said, my name's Cody Eddings, born and raised St. Louis, Missouri, got transplanted to Philly at a certain point, been here for about 4 or 5 years. Snap Refund is a digital payment platform, much like you said. So we're here to help businesses send outbound digital payments using the latest, greatest technology like instant payments. And these payment rails can settle in real time, even 24/7 on nights and weekends, Christmas morning. They really do something that the ACH system can't, although we offer that as well. So we're here to give people greater control over their money. That's our mission. And with that, we've looked for places where payments happen slowly. Obviously, insurance is a big mecca of slow payments, so to speak. So with that, that's how we landed where we are today in the insurtech sector. And we look to find more and more applications and opportunities like the dental vertical that we'll talk more about here in a bit, where we see a chance to help people not only afford coverage more easily, but also help the carriers, help the carriers sign up more policies and actually get more insureds under their wing. And a big part of that comes from creating these tools that can help not only just the people who get them first typically, but also the underserved and underbanked who typically get a lot of these financial technologies last.
Underserved and underbanked. I'm so appreciative of those terms because there's so many communities out there just probably don't have the ability to reach these technological marvels that you're looking to put out into the industry. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Absolutely, and we see that a lot in America. I mean, it's a big trend where a pretty notable percentage of adults don't even have bank accounts, and they use check cashing, for example, which is pretty predatory, and they're taking pretty large percentages of the money they give you. So there's definitely an opportunity here to help people out, and that's at the core of what we want to do.
So how did you come up with the idea for Snap Refund?
So it all started in November of 2019. My co-founder, Anis Taylor, he had approached me, and I knew Anis from the Philly startup scene. We'd both been around. I met him at a pitch workshop a few years before that. We stayed in touch, and he had reached out to me, and he said, hey, there's a problem. I noticed a lot of people in minority communities, this huge underbanked population, people who look like us, they don't have access to a lot of these financial tools and technologies that are out there, or they don't have financial literacy to even understand how any of this works. So what can we do about that? And, having grown up like pretty low income background myself in St. Louis, I had seen that firsthand. I mean, I used to go cash my check before I had my first bank account at a check cashing place. And I thought about it, and at that point I was kind of fresh off of making all these hardware startups. GuitarSim was my first startup that had this hardware accessory component to it. And that is a tough business. You have to have so much capital to make these molds and prototypes that as an engineer, as a software engineer, I was like, man, why am I doing this to myself? It's pretty masochistic. So he kind of reached out to me at the right time where I was thinking already, like, yeah, I think something software related would be a really good use of what I already know I can do. And then he came in with what was really an altruistic goal in mind. So from there, we started what was actually called Dime at the time. We were a peer-to-peer payment platform. And then through the process of doing market research and pitching to VCs, we realized that there were actually better applications for this business model because peer-to-peer is very saturated, and the incumbents in that space already have such scale to where they don't even need to charge fees, and people have come to expect that at a consumer level. But for a new fintech coming up, it's pretty hard to compete with that because usually you don't own the actual payment rail interface yourself. You're interfacing to another company and they have their own margin. So you're always trying to find a way to get close to the metal, so to speak. And in peer to peer, that's a super sensitive area, right? That's what people probably care about most is if I have to pay anything to send this money, I'm not using it. So we realized, all right, we have this instant payment technology. We have this ecosystem of software around payments we've been developing. So where are the best places where we can use it? And in pitching to VCs, one of us actually got the idea from one that insurance is this big blue sky area right now where there's a lot of potential for disruption. There's also a lot of resistance to disruption, which means it's hard to break through and actually become successful selling SaaS to insurance businesses. But if you do, the moat behind you and anyone else trying to come up behind you could be pretty big because it's so hard to break through in that space. And then above all else, our mission has always been from the beginning to empower people and give them greater control over their money. So in a place like insurance, where 95% of surveyed respondents say that claim payment speed is the number one key to satisfaction, we realized there's a really big consumer motivation to speed this up. And with that, the carrier stands to benefit because the ones that are going to be forward thinking enough to do that are going to not only slash their costs, right? Cost containment in claims is huge, and I know you could speak for days about that, but also they'll be able to build this trust that inherently makes more people want to come to their platform. So that's how we ended up where we are today in 2022, and it's definitely been quite a journey. Lots of ups and downs with any startup, and we're happy to be on the up now.
Totally, totally awesome. And thank you so much for creating a platform that affects my direct community, being the claims, the claims industry. Because kind of reiterating what you were saying, from a customer standpoint, we can get a claim in, we can get the documentation in, review it, we can make a claim decision, we can draft a payment within 24 hours. But if the money is not in the hand of the customer, is that claim really resolved? So for you to find an innovative way of using technology, leveraging technology, to be able to get that payment to the quicker, and then seeing how it affects positively, affects both sides, the customer and then the actual insurance company, because the claim is now resolved quicker, the customer is able to put their life back together. Because that's what a claim is, right? A claim is an emergent circumstance where somebody's life has been affected with an unscheduled event. So this is something we need to do to try to get them back on track. So I thank you. I know we're still continuing the conversation, but thank you very much for helping out my claim community.
Yeah, that's a great note. You said it best. And I love when I talk to people who are actually in the space, of course, because number one, that's like the core tenet of any good company is you're talking to your end users and your economic buyers, your technical buyers. So I just like to soak up the game. When I talk to Brian, I'm all ears.
Careful, I'm gonna blush. So I know you said you started late 2019. Talk to me about COVID. How did the COVID pandemic, the start of it, obviously I know we're still in it, but how did the COVID pandemic affect your burgeoning business? Because at that time you were still in your infancy.
Yeah, so it did a lot actually in the fintech space as a whole because we were already seeing trends where cash was becoming less prevalent in transactions and digital methods were becoming more prevalent. So with that, COVID totally accelerated that timeline. I mean, some people say it bumped us up 3 to 5 years, and the way that things are already trending from a payments standpoint, now everything is that much more digital, that much less face to face, and there's that much more expectation from consumers because we were all quarantined and locked in our houses for so long that everything needs to be self-service where possible, really clean, sleek UX, and really quick. I mean, people's patience has grown really thin for things that use things like the mailing system and waiting on clearance times and delays. All of that was already becoming phased out, albeit somewhat slowly, but that was the trend. And now that timeline just got jumped up a few years because of COVID.
All right, so I kind of understand the obsession idea, and where you guys are now. So, Walk me through the payment offerings that Snap Refund has. I heard you mention ACH, but what are the other options that you might have?
Yeah, so we utilize a payment rail that we call Instant that allows someone to be paid within a few seconds, anytime, and that's to a debit card, or what helps our underbanked community is a reloadable gift card can also receive these payments, which is powerful because if you're a user that doesn't have a bank and a business owes you money, it's pretty hard to get that money without a bank account typically. But with this rail, you can go to a corner store, someplace that sells reloadable OCT enabled gift cards, and then you get that off the shelf, put that into your Snap Refund wallet, and now you can get paid without a bank account ever being set up in your name, because to sign up with Snap Refund as a recipient, all you need is your name and email address, and you make a password. Now I go get this reloadable gift card. Now I can cash that payment out instantly to this gift card's balance, and I never actually had to touch a
That's pretty
bank.
awesome. That's pretty awesome. But you said a term and you glanced over it like I wasn't going to come back on it. You said Snap Refund Wallet. Talk to me about that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually open a custodially held bank account for our verified users, which we call a wallet, but actually is a bank account behind the scenes, and we do all the heavy lifting to make sure that that process is super smooth for you. If you're a business user, because we have both business and personal users on the platform, if you're a business user, we collect a few details from you like your EIN. If you're a personal user, we collect the last four of your social, and now you have this wallet. And what that wallet does is it's a store of funds. So now you can deposit into it, withdraw from it freely, and whenever you send someone a payment, if you have a wallet balance on Snap Refund, they'll be offered not only the ACH rail, but also the instant payment rail. So it essentially empowers you as a business or a person to give those instant payments out, and you don't need to worry about any of the nitty-gritty details. We're taking all that off your plate and just saying, look, here's a wallet. You have money in the wallet. People can get that
Awesome,
money
awesome.
instantly.
And the big part of that I love so much is that I know initial part of the conversation we were talking about the underserved communities, right, or the unbanked, those individuals that are, I mean, for lack of better terminology, let's be just direct, the impoverished people of color communities, right? So you're having this platform where you're meeting them where they are versus attempting to push them into a state of uncomfortability with that financial institution. You're meeting them where they are, letting them know that there is a platform that is more localized, it is more centralized. Obviously, I know your support system is there for them, and then kind of helping building that trust back between a formal financial institution and a company like Snap Refund to that customer who was that underserved. So I'm such a big fan of yours and what you guys are doing. It's pretty awesome. Love it. Absolutely.
I really appreciate that. And you said meeting them where they are. I think that's the biggest key. Is it's always about them. You know, when it comes down to it, we have to find out really what their day-to-day experience is like when it comes to interacting with these financial tools and models. Because as much as we think we might know what someone needs or wants, the customer is always right, truly. Which means let's just ask them. You know, what's it like for you to cash a payment out, send a payment, and in those conversations, we'll pick up little details we didn't even realize were a nuance that existed. And that is huge when it comes to deciding what to put in our product roadmap.
So what is the end goal? What is the end goal for Snap Refund? What are you looking for?
Man, well, our mission has not changed to empower people and give them greater control over their money. And that means a lot of things, right? Because money is ubiquitous with life in the modern world. So that involves a lot more verticals and a lot more spaces than one company could ever hope to touch. So our specific goals, we actually have something cooking up I'm super excited about. So, and this is maybe where some of your listeners actually might prick their ears up a little bit. So we have a use case in mind that we're approaching dental carriers, MGAs, and TPAs with right now, where we can leverage our instant payment tech to integrate with their claims management system to allow for instant claim approval for dental care. So when someone goes to the dentist, we know there's this fee-for-service model. It's very prevalent in dental now, where they pay out of pocket and they get reimbursed later, typically with a paper check, comes in about a week to 4 weeks. That's a huge problem when you live paycheck to paycheck, because I don't have the $1,000 in my bank account to float and then wait for that check to come back to me, right? So with our system, we're looking to find innovative dental carriers that can really revolutionize this game for their benefit and the actual insureds, Where now with Snap Refund, that person goes to the dentist. They can already see an idea of what's covered and what's not through some automated ways of essentially estimating coverage, because in dental, these procedure codes are very standardized, which is a very, very important fact. And then when their provider, their dentist office, submits the claim to the insurance carrier, we'll have the ability to automate that approval process, take the human out of the loop, and then use our instant payment rail we have to push the funds from the carrier to the insured in real time. So now, as the insured, I don't have to wait to be reimbursed a week later with a check. Now I only pay the part that I owe, and the part that the dental carrier owes me for my claim is going to be pushed to me onto a debit card or a gift card I brought with me in a few seconds. So the barrier to entry for cost is huge. I mean, and this just removes it. Right away, it's like, boom, you only pay what you need to pay. It's not going to be a rich man's game anymore to get your teeth fixed.
So many pieces of that I wanted to speak about. Number one, phenomenal idea, absolutely phenomenal idea. And the big huge thing over my mind, that's just how my brain thinks. I know your brain thinks the same way, because it was the last sentence that you said was, now those individuals who were scared to go to the dentist, not so much because they didn't want to go get a needle, but just because they didn't want to see what happens after the fact when they head to the cashier, they now can set that mindset aside and actually receive the dental care that they need. That is the awesome mindset. So thinking about it, you're thinking about a payment platform. How could this payment platform help people have healthier teeth? Cody's going to tell you, boom, he just did. You know what I mean? So I know it's an indirect result, but it is a phenomenal result looking at it from that standpoint. That's why you're going to open up your eyes to so many other ways that you guys can find ways to help out these communities where these people just don't have a voice. You know what I mean? And that's a pretty awesome idea, man. Congratulations to that. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That idea ultimately came from market research and just talking to people, right? That's really what led us to the best ideas we've ever done. As much as we want to take the credit, it's really not about us. It's really just we're a conduit of what people actually need, and we're going to always try to deliver
that.
Man,
this has been an awesome conversation, Cody. Awesome conversation. You know what? Plug. Not just a water bottle. Where can people find you? Where can people find Snap Refund if they have any questions, anything like that? If they want to be a part of your program, please, as much as you can.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. Never too late for a shameless plug. So you can definitely check us out today. Our landing page is about.snaprefund.io. You can find our payment platform live, ready to use. You can use it for any payment you need. I mean, any legal payment, I should say, disclaimer. And that's at snaprefund.io. And then if you want to talk to me, you want to talk to our team, please reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm, I think, the only Cody Eddings that I know about. Well, there's probably more. I can't say that for sure. But you could also email me at cody.eddings@snaprefund.io. That's cody.eddings at snaprefund.io.
Awesome, man. I always love talking to you, Cody. This has been a pretty awesome time to just catch up, learn a lot more about Snap Refund and where you guys are going. And obviously, this isn't the last time we're going to speak, so I do reserve the right to annoy you anytime I need to. So just.
You got that right. You already know you can hit me up whenever
you want. Thank you so much,
man.
Cody Eddings of Snap Refund. Folks, that ends this episode of AIQ and I Quote, a podcast brought to you by Coterie Insurance, where we talk about industry partners, business leaders, and just high performers to showing why relationships matter. Thank you so much. I am Brian Thomas. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to And I Quote, a podcast focusing on telling the stories of agents, brokers, partners, and small business owners. And I Quote is brought to you by Coterie Insurance. Coterie is available across the nation and is creating a product that brings our partners speed, simplicity, and service. Through our new Simply Bind experience on the Coterie dashboard, you can get a quote by answering 2 questions.
Because relationships matter. Take a look at our show notes for more information and news.